Hey there, welcome back to the Gambit Stratagem for a little segment I like to call Stuff I Like, where I talk about stuff that I like. Last time I talked about a pair of CrossFit shoes. Today I'm not talking about CrossFit shoes, or am I perhaps? These are the FeelGrounds. It's kind of their basic shoe. They make like a high top version and a low top version of this. Perhaps you've seen their ads on Instagram. I saw them quite a bit, and I finally thought, you know what, I like minimalist shoes. If you know me, and I've talked about, if you've watched the other Gambit videos, you know I like a minimalist shoe. I don't necessarily train in them all the time, but I really like the idea of like a Chuck Taylor, but that narrow toe box, super low heel, just kind of general comfort. They tend to give me blisters if I wear them a lot. Obviously, really bad for running, but you know, like power lifters, people that deadlift or squat really heavy, a lot of times will default to a Chuck Taylor as a really flat, basic shoe. And I love the idea of that, but the toe box has never been good for me. So to me, this is kind of a, not really super similar in construction, but just kind of like the looks of it. It's a classic, clean, simple shoe. A little bit maybe even on the boring side for some people. And I thought, you know what, I'm gonna check these out. So, first things first, this is a company out of Germany, I believe, and so there's a little bit of shipping involved. I think it was like 20 bucks, 15 or 20 bucks worth of shipping. I had to wait a little bit, but you know, with these kind of minimalist shoes, they're not being made by huge companies like Nike or Reebok or whoever, so I think there's a relatively small team of people working on them, and you kind of got to get them from interesting places, and sometimes you might pay a little bit more for them. So I would say, you know, right off the bat, that's my biggest knock, is these are expensive shoes. So if you're kind of sitting through this review and you get to the end, I'll talk about the price at some point, and you're kind of like, wow, that's way too much. Really simple shoe, white bottom. They are super flexible and just a knit upper. There's not a ton of materials here, just kind of like one kind of knit upper, but it's I'll splice in some photos, but it's really soft to the touch. I also opted for the cork insoles, which if you're following along with kind of like the minimalist shoe deal, cork insoles, I don't know exactly why they go with cork. I think it's like kind of a moisture wicking, odor absorption type thing, but they're kind of like a foam on the back that looks like there's some maybe chunks of cork or like a recycled material in there. And that's kind of a lot of the way with these minimalist shoes, is they're always trying to be like, you know, carbon neutral or minimal impact on the environment, all that kind of good stuff. So I opted for the cork insoles this time. That was like a $20 add-on. I'm sure you can find cork insoles on Instagram or from a variety of, Amazon or a variety of other sources these days. If you take the cork insole out, and again, I'll splice in a couple of shots here, there's not a lot going on down in there. You're pretty much then dealing with this little thin piece of rubber and down to the ground. I've had minimalist shoes before, and I know that rubber's there pretty much just to protect the bottom of your foot. So I went for that little extra cushion, and man, the upper of this shoe is super comfortable because it's this knit material, so it's got a little stretch to it. It kind of forms around your foot and also is really soft at the same time. So immediately when I put these on, super comfortable. That cork insole adds just a little bit of a layer of squish that I find to just be, like, I've just worn these, and I'm not gonna, when I talk about shoes on here, they're not always gonna be super clean because I wear them a lot, and these are dirty because I've been out wearing them. I walk the dogs in them. I've been wearing them around the gym. I've been coaching them. I haven't really trained in them specifically, but I have, you know, tried some squats and some other movements in them. I mean, if you like a flat shoe to lift in or to work out in, you're probably gonna like this shoe. The wide toe box is about perfect for me. Even though it's a low heel, I get plenty of grip on my heel and around the ankle. And I feel like you just don't need a lot of stability around the heel because of how flat and firmly planted your foot is on the ground. You just don't need much else to it. So with all that said, let's talk about the kind of cons to this shoe. First of all, as I mentioned, they're kind of plain looking. You can get these in a few different colors. There was even like a yellow, I think, and a red. You can get a gum sole on these. And I have seen them on sale a couple times, which if you're kind of curious about these, I definitely would recommend checking out a pair when they're on sale, because I think with shipping and the cork insoles, I was about 150 bucks for this pair of shoes. But, you know, that said, a lot of CrossFit shoes now, if this is going to be kind of like a main go-to shoe for you in or out of the gym, You're looking at no bowls are $130. I think some of the new Reebok stuff is pushing $130 to $150. So you kind of keep in mind you're ordering from a small company. These shipped all the way from Germany. They're not made in the United States, which is, I don't know if that's necessarily good or bad, but somebody did have to ship them. That all adds to the cost. So I think the basic shoe you can get for around $100. So if you've got an insole you like, or you're going to source an insole elsewhere, or you catch them on sale, I would plan on finding these for about $100. And if you are curious about or already like kind of a minimalist shoe, I give this a huge pass because compared to the other minimalist shoes I have, there's a little more kind of around the edge. It's not like a super minimalist shoe. It's got a little more around the bottom, and they get a nice little cush. I get a nice little cushion when I'm walking around in these. The other thing I'll throw in there, one final caveat, and this will apply to a very small percentage of people, I'm sure. As a driving shoe, was out in the car for a couple hours yesterday, and I do drive a manual transmission, so I'm doing a lot of pivot, heel toe, kind of rocking back and forth, a lot of pressure on the heel, and this shoe tends to kind of give way a little bit in the heel, and you can see where it's kind of like developed a little wrinkle in the back there, and I started to feel a little discomfort in the heel after driving. I will also say that's not uncommon when I drive a lot in a minimalist shoe because it's almost like your bare heels just resting on the floor. And if you know about driving shoes, a lot of times they'll add a little extra rubber, a little extra cushion to give that pivot point a little more stability there. So, like I said, all in all, definitely out of a pass-fail. I'd give these a pass, provided you're okay with the expense part of it and waiting a little bit for the shipping. The shipping was like a week to 2 weeks, so it wasn't a big deal, but I mean, I've ordered stuff from Reebok before where it showed up in 3 or 4 days. So keep that in mind, but all in all, as a minimalist kind of travel shoe, flexible shoe, wearing day to day, I haven't found a place where these were uncomfortable so far, so I'm definitely a fan. Check out the FeelGrounds and also check out some of the other videos on our channel. Thanks for stopping by.